Last time on Live, Work, Wander.
How you feeling about our chosen route here?
Oh man, this is exactly what I was afraid one of these routes through this national forest was going to be like. Taking a quick second here to give a status update. This is where things stand. It's a very, very deep mud pit that we were trying to avoid going through by taking this go around. But unfortunately, the right side was extremely slick and I didn't have enough forward momentum. And so our front tire just slid off to the right and dragged us down.
I think one important lesson is we should have aired down.
It might have grabbed and gone over this ledge a little bit easier. Instead, it just hit it and slid across it like that.
During this debacle, we were able to use our Garmin InReach device to contact friends, that in turn were able to contact emergency services to come help us. The message read,
"This is Jessica. SOS. We're stuck nearly tipped over on a forest road in the western part of Medicine Bow National Forest."
Within 4 hours, some locals arrived and began to render aid. The cavalry has arrived. How did you guys hear about our situation?
I got it from OnStar.
OnStar, okay.
Is that what you got, OnStar?
We sent it through Garmin to a friend in Fort Collins who said that help is on the way. So I'm guessing you might be help?
Yeah.
Are you the one?
I'm the one.
All right, what's your name?
Brian. That back tire's so close to coming off the ground.
This is, you only come down this road to rescue people?
Yeah. I've been stuck too many times.
Oh, so you don't come down this road,
no.
And you're a native.
That's right. Well, I'm not a native, but I've been here long enough to know.
Right. Jeez, man. We picked the wrong road. This situation could have been much, much worse. We've played this whole thing back in our heads a number of times. Some folks here and elsewhere have second-guessed and belittled us for not smashing through the center of that mud hole. The truth is, we thought that, until I got into the water and felt how deep, thick, and sticky the mud was. If we'd smashed through the center of that hole, our whole house would have been stuck in 3.5 feet of water. Obviously, that would have been a stupid option. But what if we'd made it on that bypass? What then? Turns out, some 100 yards ahead, another mud hole even deeper and longer than the one we found ourselves in, and with no bypass, would have swallowed us up. And rescue would have been even more treacherous. Status?
We're making some good progress here. She's pretty tippy. She's had both of these tires up off the ground, but between the straps and the weight, she stayed upright so far.
As counterintuitive as it seems, getting stuck where we did and how we did was probably the best thing that could have happened out of a bunch of really shitty options.
Yeah, just take a deep breath. Your heart can stop fluttering.
Some might say, well, maybe you shouldn't have gone down that road without airing down and without a winch and while wearing flip-flops. All true. The great thing about us being out here doing it is we learn from our mistakes and apply those lessons to future adventures. All right, she started.
Sound normal?
Yeah, she sounds normal. How you feeling? You doing okay?
Yeah, doing good. I'm just glad she did
Tip over?
finish the roll.
So the folks that rescued us, I believe it's Brian, Megan, Rod, and Siobhan.
Brian and Megan are married and Siobhan's their kid. Have invited us to stay in camp at their house for the evening and kind of get our bearings. At first we were like, no, we should just keep going, but the more we do this and the longer we're on this road, the more we think, well, you know what, maybe we should just take them up on that offer, because straight through, babe, straight through, because we got a lot to clean up in the van, and I don't want to just drive it like this. As soon as we get to their house, we've got to take stuff apart in the toolbox because it's full of water. We need to take apart the shift linkage because I'm sure that that thing is jacked up now. We need to clean it as well as possible. We need to grease all the bushings again, and we need to check the throttle and make sure that that's nice and dry before we try to press on anywhere else, and we'll see how far we get on stuff. We still got a gig that starts Wednesday in Jackson. Hopefully we can get all this stuff knocked out today and early tomorrow and hit the road and make it to Jackson by Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning. And if not, it's totally cool.
No one is out here holding our hands, and save for the few who have taken the time to educate us on four-wheel driving, we mostly just inform ourselves by watching others and by trying things out on our own. As such, we don't have the luxury of being armchair quarterbacks watching YouTube or Instagram, scoffing at people for not doing all of this professionally. We learn as we go, take our bumps and move on. Some might call it irresponsible to take a risk like this. But we didn't set off from the comfort of AC, a stable set of four walls, a commute, and a 9 to 5 to second guess every damn thing we do. Adventure starts when what you didn't expect to happen bites you in the ass and you have to react. Ending up with our house at 32 degrees off camber and sliding into a mud hole isn't what we're after out here. But it's the uncertainty of what lies ahead that is the essence of living free and driving hard.
The shadow of a heart's decay. I tried so hard but couldn't leave. The ocean's waves release the pain. Frozen water wash my feet. And carried on my father's name. Carried on my father's name.
Well, if you want to come up, then we could probably find you a shower and things like that too, if you'd like.
Man, this is beautiful. Gosh, what a beautiful property.
Really is. It's like paradise, of like Wyoming paradise.
Yeah.
Paradise.
Oh, almost paradise.
So our first order of business, we've got everything out of the toolbox. The toolbox has probably got like 2 inches of water in it.
It's funny how you use a toothbrush to clean out mud.
So next thing is Jessica's gonna start scooping water out of the toolbox. And we've taken apart the CVs and dried them off and cleaned them up because the bags that they were in broke and they were soaking wet and they had mud all in them. So we wanted to get those cleaned because those are spare parts that we don't want to see rust and they're expensive.
Hi, sweetheart. Hi. Oh, you're a sweetheart.
And I'm gonna rebuild these CVs just so we can get them put away.
Trying to rebuild this CV, man. This is not easy. I'm on the first one.
Yipes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so all of our adventures today in the mud, that's how much mud is in the shift linkage, and that will cause the shift linkage to bind up.
Here you go. Here's some paper towels.
So we gotta get all that mud out of there. It's not grease, it's definitely mud. It's all gritty. Ugh. We spent most of that afternoon, evening, and part of the next morning cleaning and drying our gear. The family and community at Ladder Ranch were especially gracious, kind, and generous to us, even inviting us to share in a Memorial Day barbecue with family, friends, and ranch staff. Even though the circumstances that brought us together were less than ideal, it made me step back and contemplate that we overland not just for epic views and four-wheel driving, but also for the people we meet along the way that widen our perspectives and remind us about what really matters. Whether blue or red state, we're all flesh and blood humans, sacks of meat harboring ideals and contradictions, trying our best to make it through our allotted years. Reducing each other to the sum of our politics, religion, or region betrays the capacity we each have to help, to express generosity, to find that thread that makes us each uniquely human and worthy of dignity. In contentious times, it's people like Megan and Brian, their family, their community, that serve to remind me that when people sneer about flyover country, those attitudes stem from too much time in front of a newspaper and too little time out here getting to know the immensity of experience that lies between the coasts. With Ripley all cleaned and fixed up, we pointed our compass north towards Jackson, Wyoming, and girded up our loins for the large project we had ahead of us.
Well, it's about 52 degrees here in Jackson, June 12th, and the forecast calls for snow and crows. Today we begin our big project. A lot of work coming up.
When we first hit the road, we discovered a co-working office in Jackson, Wyoming called Spark Co-working.
No dogs allowed.
Since then, we've stopped 2 or 3 more times in the Tetons to tackle big projects for clients in New York City and San Francisco. Jessica and I are senior art directors. We design the presentation layer of websites, apps, and other digital mediums. It took us many years to build up skills in our professions to the point where we could take on huge projects for Fortune 100 companies and execute them on a remote basis. And while we don't hate the work we do, it isn't our passion to spend so much creative energy helping big companies sell goods and services about which we are not passionate. Designing a website for a big bank or credit card company, while challenging and engaging, doesn't have the same value to us as drawing, painting, photographing, and creating these videos you're watching. But our work pays for our wandering, and right now it's a reliable and good source of income. While we may be out here exploring and seemingly on a never-ending vacation, the truth is we put in 40 hours or more of some kind of creative work every week. That isn't a complaint, but it is a little window into a part of our lives that doesn't look as sexy in these videos, but is, nevertheless, a huge chunk of our day-to-day.
This might just be America's most frou-freest sandwich shop.
We choose coming to work in the Tetons because of our proximity both to a comfortable co-working office and to free camping just 25 minutes away. The commute to and from camp spots in Curtis Canyon has to be one of the least stressful and most scenic commutes in the country.
I'm pretty sure that our evening commute is better than most people's. At least when we're staying here in Jackson anyways. Can't say that for all the time, but at least when we're staying here in Jackson, we go to the office, we work, and then we get on a forest road and climb a mountain. It's friggin' awesome. I want to snuggle the ever-living shit out of a prairie dog. Like a bundle of prairie dogs. Or like, just snuggle the shit out of like 14 prairie dogs. Just have them crawling all over me like ferrets on Beastmaster.
There came the only light, the Beastmaster.
And when it's time to decompress after a long day in front of Pixels, we have the smell of the forest and the sight of the Tetons across the valley to remind us that this whole live, work, wander thing is about more than social media, blogs, and the Syncro.
Wow! Oh. Yes, sir! Yes, sir! We made it. This is dope.
Jessica, battling mosquitoes.
Hey. Alright, Linus.
There's one of those bastards right there. That's just one of like 600 million that are out here. Epic camp spot. Quite possibly the most epic camp spot we've ever found. But the downside is the mosquitoes.
What's up, y'all? We have a nice little fire in our amazing camp spot here. And funny story, this is only like the third campfire we've ever made when we were camping on our own, because it's kind of a luxury that we don't really indulge in because we have everything we need in the van. But this seemed like an appropriate place. Plus the mosquitoes were insane. And a surefire way to get mosquitoes gone is build a campfire.
You said surefire.
Yeah.
Because it's a fire.
Look at this mountain chicken. We ended up naming this camp spot Camp Thunder Chicken because apparently the male ruffed grouse, aka mountain chicken or thunder chicken as we like to call it, will flap its wings in such a way as to make a thundering or drumming sound to attract a mate. It seems that he found my scent irresistible and thundered near our camp for a few hours, which kind of freaked us out because we had no idea what it was. Eventually, we figured out it was just that damn bird making all that ruckus. With the mystery of the thunder chicken solved, we sat by the campfire and cooked some food before hitting the hay. Something got hold of my upper foot and was like, "Hi!" Just tore that shit up. So what do we do with the crackers and cheese, huh? And how do we eat these sausages? You gonna cut them up?
I was planning on eating them right on there.
Really? That seems dangerous. But only if you're a pussy. Hey, will you? Dude, my sausage is the most moist thing this side of a porn set. Alright, I'm gonna heat this shit up a little bit more, a little bit more. I'm gonna heat my sausage up a little bit more, a little bit more. I'm gonna heat my sausage up a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. I'm gonna heat my sausage up a little bit, a little bit, a little bit,
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done heating it up. That's what I'm saying. Oh, there's sausage. Oh, smells like off. Here at Camp Thunder Chicken, we like to eat like loggers. Loggers are called lumberjacks. Thank you. If something were to attack us right now, I'd be like, hang on, man. I'm cooking this sausage and it's looking good.
Cheers.
We docking sausages? That's the sound it makes?
Mm-hmm. This is awesome.
What is?
All of it.
All this shit like camping out here and all that?
Everything.
Yeah, this is dope. We should do this shit more often.
Oh, don't we?
Why don't we? Because we're always fixing the van. Tell us a little story. A little hiking story. It doesn't have to be about hiking, it's just a story you tell while hiking.
So, I'm someone who is always being bitten by things. Mostly mosquitoes. If there are 100 people in a room and one person gets bit by a mosquito, that one person will be me. Or at least that has been the case in the past. But in the last couple of weeks, the tables have kind of turned. I think Corey and I like switched blood types or something. Because he's been getting eaten by all the bugs. And I've gotten a few bites. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm taking a little bit of pleasure in that. Man, it always blows my mind. It fascinates me to see these uprooted trees with these huge rocks all up in the roots, and they just bring it all up with them when they fall. So cool.
Well, this is what happens when piss poor planning meets execution. You walk through snow in your flip-flops while you're hiking. Oh God, that's freaking cold. Ooh. I'm kind of a puss. And by kind of, I mean 100%. Can I do it, you think?
You got it.
But I have sand in my vagina. Oh my God, I went all the way down. Ah. Ow, 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 ow. Gross Ventura Wilderness?
Yeah.
I don't know how you pronounce that. Gross?
Gross Ventre? I don't know.
We've made it. Look at how beautiful that is. Look at how beautiful that is. Gosh. So clear. Here you go.
By a spider.
I got blue balls. Blue balls.
How you doing?
You know what's in here? Trillions of babies.
Look at him. So lonely.
All right, we've made it back to camp. I've got our 5-gallon jug of water here. Only has a little bit of water in it. I'm not that strong to be able to lift up 5 gallons like that. And we're gonna fill it up with the water that we got at the spring. There's how that's set up.
Later on that day, we were joined by some fellow overlanders that we'd met almost a year earlier, and who now happened to be in the same area. They brought along some friends with them as well, who were traveling the Western Hemisphere in their 2015 Defender 110.
Hell yeah, company's here. All right. Friends. Oh yeah. Hello! What's up, man? Good to see you.
How you doing?
Hey.
Nice shirt.
Yeah. Good to see you guys.
Thanks for inviting us. Sure.
We set up a fire to make some food, and it's raining now. The fire's still going, but I don't know if I can be out there. God didn't make me waterproof.
She's like, stop dead. Let me get near the door.
I don't like to be in there. I prefer the rain.
She doesn't like rattle around in that rattly Defender.
No? Is it pretty noisy in there?
Yep.
Yeah?
We took her one day and
It's a tractor essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, the other day we put her in our truck and she keeps wanting to get back in our truck.
Yeah.
Yo quiero taco.
After the rain passed, we all sat around the campfire that night recalling stories of our many overland adventures. Our friends regaled us with stories of almost tipping their Tacoma, of beautiful drives on the East Coast, and of some of the places we had all visited at one point in Baja California. I sat around the campfire thinking to myself that the simplicity of the experience we were having and the beauty of the setting sun before us isn't something that can be replicated sitting in front of a TV or YouTube, flipping through channels, and enduring commercials. I want to make it clear that I am the last overlander to wax philosophical about modernity and its distractions. It would be the height of hypocrisy for me to lecture you or anyone else about cutting the cord, as I sit here creating and editing content for consumption on a digital medium. Too often, I read other travelers demanding we fight capitalism and its pathologies, while running ads on their channels, or selling photo prints on their Instagram, or using the latest gear and gadgetry brought to market by a beautiful, emergent system of generally orderly exchanges. To sit here bringing this stuff to you on Sony cameras and Apple computers, while also damning the markets and the profits that get it all into your hands, takes a mind-boggling amount of cognitive dissonance. Truth be told, I miss video games, and I miss sitting in front of a flat-screen TV on Sunday afternoons watching football and eating pizza while screaming about fumbles, touchdowns, and bad play calls. That stuff brings joy. It's fun, and it's rewarding. But I'd be lying if I said I'd rather have that over a sunset with new friends, a campfire, and meaningful conversation. The yellow flicker of the waning flames of a campfire is proof of a good night out here, and we didn't have to sit through any ads to achieve it. I'm not saying to tune out, to live austere, to reject modernity, but if these videos inspire you, then get out there and do everything you can to live free and drive hard.
Is it just me, or is Tom Cruise's character in Top Gun always sweaty. Like he always looks kind of shiny, like he's got a fresh sheen of sweat on his face or his nose or his upper lip. Anyhow, point is now that I'm wearing these shades, I'm gonna develop a little sweat on my brow, hop in my F-14 Tomcat and do some dog fighting, land, bang my flight instructor, and then shortly thereafter get it on with my homies on the volleyball court. Woo!